Okay, we're at the final few steps before we mount this shade onto the headrail, and I'm on my last set of, my last row I should say, right here. And if you recall, we drew a finish line straight across here. That was our final line. That is the finish, that's where we're going to mount the board, so it's actually, I call it our finish line. And what we're going to do, we still have these marks here. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring the mark up, and in a second I'll get a little closer, so it lines up with this line going across. Now instead of pinning it on the back side of it, this is a little tricky, but you want to stick a pin into the front of it, like so. Because when you're mounting it, you don't want that pin to get stuck to the board, or try to have to get it out afterwards. So we're going to take, I just noticed I never put the marks here. It was 7 1/4 inches, and yes, it's a step I forgot to do. It was 7 1/4, 14.5 inches. Yes, you do have to mark that last line. My bad, I forgot to do it. Anyhow, now we're going to put this, line this up right here. Take a pin from the back. Pin this one. Excuse me. And last one. Now, let me bring this over to you so I can show you. Hopefully you can see that, and you'll notice that the tapes are lined up with that line that's going shooting straight across. Get a better view here. A little hard holding the shade and showing you at the same time. If I can get one at least. Just like that. That's how you want it to look on each one. Now the next step, I have it here, is I covered my board. And my next step is to put this line onto the board. Let's see here. So this is going to go on the back side, obviously. And where that line is, this board has to go right even with this edge right there. So you want that line. And the first thing you're going to do is you want to make sure you nail down your tapes right to the board, because that's what's going to hold it. That being said, I'll back it up. Putting my board on. Do the two outer ones first to make sure it's even to the side of my board. Then I'll work my center ones. Now I'm only going to nail, all I did is staple down these 4 right there. That's as far as I'm going to go with that right now. And the reason why is because I want to check the length before I pop a ton of staples in this. So that would be, it's almost your next step, with the exception that we have to put a weighted bar in the bottom. Now, since this is just a video and I'm not really making the shade for anybody, other than the purpose of this video, I'm using a threaded bar. You can pick it up at Lowe's. This is a I think this is actually a 3/8, but you can use a 1/4 inch threaded bar. You can find it at any Lowe's or Home Depot. It's very common, and it cuts real easy with a hacksaw or a grinder, cut-off tool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this in the bottom because we left the sides open on the bottom. And we're going to stick this in here. And I cut the bar 1 inch less than the shade. The shade was 24 inches, so I cut the bar at 23 inches to make sure it fits in and that I have a 1/2 inch on each side. Now, got 2 choices. We got 3 choices. You can hand sew this down. You can machine sew it down, or you can glue it. All 3 are good methods. Hand sewing is nice because if you're a good hand sewer, it looks better than straight stitching it. I'm going to glue it because I'm also going to put a little glue onto the weighted bar and stick it right to the material. And that way it can't shift. I have seen, even with hand sewing, the bars shift and constantly shift and poke a hole through the threads. And it does it because there is a 1/2 inch on each side that it can slide back and forth a little bit. By gluing it down and putting a little glue onto the bar and onto the fabric, it holds it right in place. And you don't see any stitch marks on the sides. Now, if you don't like that idea, then you can hand sew it. It's fine, but there's nothing wrong with gluing it. It works perfectly fine, and it'll hold up for years. Probably hold up just as good as hand sewing or machine sewing, either one of those. Okay. Now, so far, this is what the shade looks like. Shade looks like from the side view. What the back of the shade looks like. Looks pretty good. Now we're going to hang it. Let me get my sample off. Okay. Looks pretty good. Gonna measure it. 30. It is right on the dime. So now, I go ahead and I finish stapling across. I look at my marks, make sure they're still lined up. And what we do with the excess here is I cut it off yourself about a 1/2 inch extra here, or it could be even more. Doesn't have to look pretty. Then you're going to bend it in like this. Okay, and that finishes off the top of it. That's what it looks like on the front side of it. That's what it looks like on the back side of it. And your top. So it's all finished off. Now, as far as stringing it, putting your clutch, putting your rings, and stringing it, I do have other videos on this. If you follow the ones on flat Roman shades, I show you exactly how to do it using both the Rollee system, which is what this one has, or with the standard clutch. You'll find them both, and a lot of these parts you find on eBay. These little plastic rings you'll find on eBay. The twill tape, this is 3/4 inch twill tape. Do a search on eBay, you'll find it. Hot glue, of course. Stapler, staple gun. Pretty much, so you don't need anything that's overly hard to find to make a soft old shape. So I hope this helps you, and if you have any questions, you can look me up, Factory Direct Designers Workroom, and you'll find all my contact information. It may take me a while. I get hundreds of emails every day. I try to answer them when I can, and depending on the volume. So anyhow, good luck, and thanks for watching.